There's a city where beer isn't just a product, it's a legacy. Brewing has been part of its story since the city was even a city. They've named their baseball team after it. That's how deeply it runs. But here's the twist. This might not have been the case at all if not for a pivotal Ricochet moment, sparked by a legendary disaster 90 miles away. Hey, it's Nick, and this is the Ricochet Moment. All about those pivotal turning points. Moments when leaders face a choice. Every business is on a trajectory, and at some point, it hits a ricochet. That ricochet can either propel you upward or send you spiraling down. The outcome? It all depends on how you choose to navigate it. This is the story of how Frederick Pabst leaned into a crisis, saw what others couldn't, and created a legacy that would outlive him by generations. Frederick Pabst's story starts far from the brewing empire he would one day create. When his family arrived in Chicago in 1848, they had no master plan, only a desire for a better life. As a young man, Frederick worked as a waiter before becoming a cabin boy for the Goodrich Line, a steamship company that operated on Lake Michigan. Over 8 years, he sailed the lake, studied navigation, and rose through the ranks to become the captain of the Goodrich steamer, Huron. But Pabst's journey took an unexpected turn when he met Maria Best, the daughter of Milwaukee brewer Philip Best. Their marriage in 1862 would be the first step towards a life Pabst had never envisioned. In December of the following year, a violent storm struck as Pabst captained his ship north of Milwaukee. The ship was beached, leaving Frederick shaken and reflecting on what he was doing with his life. This life-altering moment convinced him to leave the waters behind and join his father-in-law's modest brewery, despite having no brewing background whatsoever. At the time, the Best Brewery had been producing beer since 1844, but it was struggling under the weight of financial troubles and Philip Best's failing health. Frederick saw potential where others saw failure. He agreed to become a partner in the business, and within 2 years, he and his brother-in-law had bought out Philip Best entirely. Let's be real, it's almost impossible to pin down a single Ricochet moment for Frederick Pabst. His story feels like a series of crossroads, each one redefining the course of his life and his business. Maybe that's part of the legend, or maybe hindsight just makes everything look inevitable. But think about it. If Pabst hadn't left his life on steamships or stepped in the brewing business, we wouldn't even be talking about him today. Now, let's turn the mirror on you. The choices you're making or avoiding right now, how will they hold up when you look back? Are you laying the groundwork for something meaningful, or will you see a string of missed chances where action could have changed everything? That's the difference. The ones who future-proof don't just talk about change, they make it happen. It was in 1871 that Frederick Pabst would face, in my opinion, his defining challenge. The Great Chicago Fire devastated the city just 90 miles south of Milwaukee, destroying 19 breweries in Chicago overnight and throwing the regional beer market into total chaos. For most brewers, the instinct was to wait for Chicago to rebuild, to pause and protect what little remained. But not Pabst. He saw the fire not as an ending, but as a stepping stone. He leaned into the chaos, his focus on Milwaukee, and seizing the opportunity to make the city the new epicenter of American brewing. Pabst didn't just rebuild, he reimagined. He expanded the brewery's production, scaled distribution, and turned his eyes towards branding. His boldest move? Renaming the company after himself, creating the Pabst Brewing Company, and cementing its place in history. Natural disasters are a reality we can't escape. Fires, floods, hurricanes. Most of us live with some level of risk. It's just part of the deal. But here's the real question. What would you do if tomorrow your entire environment changed overnight? What if your competitor faced that shift instead? Today we have tools like GoFundMe, Patreon, and Kickstarter. Modern safety nets. Business insurance doesn't look anything like it did in the 1800s. But what if one of your key suppliers faced a crisis? How would that ripple through your business? Would you adapt and thrive or fold under the pressure? Although Pabst was trained as a sailor, his vision extended far beyond brewing. By the time Pabst Brewing Company became the largest brewery in America, his entrepreneurial spirit had made its mark on Milwaukee. And this is the part of the story that sticks with me. Pabst wasn't a superhero. He was just a person, a regular person with ideas. The difference? He acted on them. I can almost picture him in those early days, working the steamships on Lake Michigan, the cold wind in his face and big, ambitious visions in his head. Pabst didn't just brew beer, he brewed impact. He funneled his profits into real estate ventures like resorts and the iconic Pabst Theater, a cultural treasure to this day. Beyond business, his investments in welfare, education, and the arts cemented his legacy as a visionary and civic leader. Hindsight makes it all seem inevitable. Sure, a series of decisions built a brand that's still thriving today. But what really stands out is the readiness to act when it mattered most. The stories written after the Chicago fire are inspiring, even motivational. But none of them would exist without Pabst's willingness to seize the moment. Being ready wasn't just luck, it was a choice. It's wild. Even his marketing efforts reshaped Milwaukee's image. Alongside other brewers, Pabst helped position the city as a hub of world-class beer and entertainment. Did Milwaukee benefit from Pabst's Ricochet Moment? Hard to say for sure. But one thing is clear. His bold decisions didn't just shape his future, they rippled out, influencing the lives and opportunities of countless others. Moments like that rarely stay contained. Frederick Pabst's success wasn't just luck or timing, it was action. When his Ricochet Moment came, he didn't freeze or wait for the dust to settle. He moved, embracing risk and turning crisis into opportunity. The Great Chicago Fire wasn't just a catastrophe. It was the moment that forced Pabst to think bigger. While others hesitated, he saw what could be. He didn't ask, what did we lose? He asked, what can we build? And build he did. And build he did. Pabst not only set the stage for his company to thrive, but also helped transform Milwaukee into a brewing powerhouse, shaping the industry for decades to come. Pabst's story isn't just about beer. It's about recognizing the moment when everything hangs in the balance and having the courage to leap. His legacy wasn't the result of playing it safe. It was the result of leaning in when the stakes were high. The question is, when your Ricochet Moment comes, will you recognize it? Will you rise to meet it or let it pass you by? Trajectories don't stay static. They pivot. They ricochet. And the path forward, your path forward, is determined by what you choose to do next. So what's your moment and how far are you willing to go? Oh yeah, one more thing about the Pabst Blue Ribbon story. It's a legend wrapped in a mystery. The official claim is that Pabst Blue Ribbon earned its name after being crowned America's Best at the 1893 World's Columbian Exposition. But reports from the time suggest otherwise. Some say no ribbons were awarded at all, just bronze medals for general excellence. Frustrated vendors and murky records leave the truth unclear. Whether fact or myth, the story stuck, and the ribbon became a symbol of the brand's bold confidence. Sometimes perception really is everything. Until next time, and your Ricochet Moment.